YouTube, it's Zoe, or Read by Zoe, and today I'm going to do my September wrap-up and my October TBR. I didn't read too many books this past month, but I was also sick with strep throat for about half the month, so as good as I was expecting. But October is where reading is going to get real. We're going to read some scary books, and it's all going to be great. Halloween is coming, and that means that holiday season is arriving. So let's get to the wrap-up. I read some pretty good books this past month, and let me tell you about them. The first book that I read in September I actually don't have with me because I went home this past weekend and I exchanged some books between this bookshelf and my one at home, so don't have it with me, but pretend it's here right now. It was Forgive Me Leonard Peacock by Matthew Quick. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. It was a page turner. I was on the edge of my seat pretty much the entire time. It's about this boy named Leonard Peacock who is suicidal. He has several psychological issues, and you learn later why he has some of these issues, and he wants to kill his ex-best friend with his old Nazi gun and then kill himself, because you learn again later that his ex-best friend did something really terrible to him earlier in his life and he wants to get back at him. I love books about flawed characters, and you learn why they're flawed and how it affects how they socialize with other people and how they do their things day to day. Psychological issues are very interesting, especially in books, because you learn more about these people and their psychological issues than if you were just watching a video about them. You are in their mind and experiencing what they're experiencing. The next book that I read was Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. This was the September choice for the Jane Austen book club, and I really enjoyed this book. Not as much as Pride and Prejudice, but it was a close second. I watched the movie right before I read this book, and it was a pretty good adaptation. It was the one with Emma Thompson and Alan Rickman. Such a great movie and such a great book. The dynamic between the two sisters was fantastic. You got to see how they were so different, but they were also very similar in ways. The romance was also really cute, not as cute as Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy, but still pretty darn cute. But the focus was not on the romance, it was on the family aspect of this book. Along with reading Sense and Sensibility, the book, I read Sense and Sensibility, the comic book. This is the Marvel edition of the Jane Austen book, and it was very interesting. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The artwork is just so cartoonish, and I really enjoyed it. I love how there are quotes directly from the book in here, and it was cool to see them come to life in comic book format. I don't really read comic books, but this was definitely fun. And then I read my favorite book of the month. It was Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. 5 out of 5 stars. This was such an amazing book. Again, it was kind of a psychological book. These characters were so flawed. They were just unbelievably flawed. They had a terrible relationship with one another, but it was so twisted that you just couldn't look away. It was like a car crash. These people are terrible to one another, and their marriage is just terrible. It's taken a terrible turn, as you can tell with the book. It's about a man getting framed for the murder of his wife. So that's a terrible turn in the marriage. And the ending was just so unbelievable. Like, you did not think that the ending was going to be the ending that it was. The movie is coming out on Friday. I am definitely seeing the movie. I hear that the ending in the movie is very different from the ending in the book. I'm excited to see how they change that, because this ending was not my favorite. I just thought it was really weird. Good weird, but it was just, I like to see how they would change it. The writing was also pretty great. There were 2 different perspectives, and I loved it. The 5th book that I read in September was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. This is the first book in the Harry Potter series. I'm trying to reread and rewatch all of the books and the movies just because I was in the mood to do so. So this was obviously 5 out of 5 stars. It will always be 5 out of 5 stars, and it was so easy to read because I've read it like 6 times before, but it's still just as good as the first time I read it. The last book that I read in September was Ignite by Lily Paradis. I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was a really cute book. I just had a few issues with it. It felt really choppy. It was just event by event. It didn't feel like there was downtime in the book. You were also thrown into the book. It just, all the action just happened at the beginning of this book. But that was also what happened to the main character. She was just thrown into this life, into being given 3 kids and having to quit school. So I understand why it was like that, but again, I just wanted some ease in this book. Dean Powell is really swoon-worthy. If you're in the mood for a nice new adult romance book, I would highly recommend this. It just was not what I was in the mood for at that specific time. The first book that I plan on reading in October is Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. I have not purchased the book yet, just because I don't know why I haven't purchased it yet, but I will purchase it and then I will read it. It is for the Jane Austen book club. Obviously, if you want to join this book club where we read a Jane Austen book every single month, I'll put the link down below, both the video that I talked about the book club and the book club that is on Goodreads, so you can join me with this journey. The next 2 books that I plan on reading in October are the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children books by Ransom Riggs. I have not read these books yet, but I am very excited to read these in October. They just seem so creepy. Just look at the covers. Those look pretty darn creepy, and it's perfect for October and Halloween time. I don't know what they're about. Creepy people in a school, in a house, in an orphanage? Is it an orphanage? I don't know, but don't tell me because I want to be super surprised. And there are also creepy pictures inside as well. The next book that I plan on reading in October is The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. This book is about aliens, an alien invasion. And aliens are pretty darn cool, so I'm excited to read this book. I know that a lot of people are obsessed with this book, and there is a movie coming out with Chloe Grace Moretz later on in 2015, so I need to get on this train. I also bought the second book, The Infinite Sea by Rick Yancey, and I haven't even read this book yet. I don't know why I always buy the sequels when I haven't read the first book, but if it's as good as I'm expecting it will be, then I will read the second book maybe this month. Another book that I want to at least start in October is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I really want to get at least halfway through this book, like 300 pages in. I hear around page 200 is when the book gets really good, so I'm expecting to at least get 200 pages in because I just want to hear about time-traveling English woman going to Scotland in the 1700s. It sounds pretty cool. Time travel is also pretty Halloween-y, too. Maybe. Everything's Halloween-y. Everything is. Everything paranormal or weird. Halloween-y. So, here we go. So those are the books that I read in September and the books that I plan on at least starting in October. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a pretty quick video that I made today, but I hope you enjoyed it. Please request any videos you'd like me to make in the future down below. Just put anything you would like me to make down below. Also, please tell me what you read in September and what you're planning on reading in October, because I love hearing what you guys read, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!